Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Pony 411, episode 295 for August 4th, 2020. I am Alca7raz, and joining me as usual is Nemesis.
Hello.
Things are still about the same in the world. Well, things are getting worse in some ways and not about holding the same in others. It's been fun. I'm getting tired of it, and I wish it would end soon, but I don't know when it. Yeah, I'm just so tired.
I've been
in
tired
multiple
for 3
ways.
Years.
Yeah.
One thing, I woke up tired 3 years ago and never really recovered.
Never. That reminds me of a joke. I remember what comedian said it. I think I know who it was, but I forgot his name. It does everything deadpan. Back in high school, doctor thought I had mono. Turns out I was just tired. Yeah.
Yeah, that was Wayne's World. I thought I had mono once for an entire year. Turns out I was just really bored.
That's what it was. That's what I was reminded of. It was just getting mixed up with a different mono joke from an actual comedian stand-up. Anyway.
Yep.
I don't know if there's any, special things happening we can discuss, but anyway, we do have another episode to talk about. We've got a decent amount of, I guess, news, pony news that have been happening the last couple weeks. We got more Pony Life episodes to talk about, and that's going to be our main thing, because those are still coming out, and a little bit of fan content afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
So let's get into the news, as we usually do. You can find all of our show notes at pony411.libsyn.com/show notes. So go there, click the link for this episode, and let's get into this. And jumping straight into fandom news, because I guess there's no new convention news at the moment.
Shock.
There probably will be.
Galacon's happening online. Is happening now.
Literally. Well, actually, I think it's just ended as of recording.
Whatever.
It's like a one-day thing.
Yeah,
but yeah,
it's already
by the time you hear this, it's definitely over. So that was a thing that had just happened. There's probably going to be more convention news, just minor stuff happening between
Every said they're doing something that's not a full-blown online convention.
Yeah,
they said something, but very small scale.
Yeah, more news about that hasn't been released as of recording, but it'll probably drop soon, so keep an ear out for that. But yes, into other news, fandom news. Jenny Nicholson has made a video.
Yep.
I guess we're just going to jump into probably one of the biggest one. It has made a bit of a stir.
If you don't remember, she is the voice of pretty much everyone in Friendship is Witchcraft.
Yes, that's what she's known for in the fandom. She hasn't done much of anything in the fandom for a while, but that is what she is pretty much well known for.
Yes.
She's made a video. It's based around, BronyCon sort of is the framing, as she has said later.
It's called The Blast BronyCon, a Fandom Autopsy.
Yep. And
the title alone has got raised hackles.
Yes. It's a tough one to talk about.
Yeah, it's also an hour long.
I think
over an hour long.
It is an hour long, so we really can't just delve into the entire thing. This is not an autopsy of her autopsy. Let's say that. It's not a primary discussion point. I will say there are things in it. I think overall it's correct, mostly, but there's some things that I don't agree with.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to say certain things, but
she raises a lot of good points throughout the video.
Yes.
Particularly the things like some of the problems of the fandom, like stuff I remember, like the gatekeeping, the weird homophobia, just general weirdness sometimes with the fandom, the fact that we kind of pretend, like the fandom does try to pretend that we didn't come for 4chan sometimes, and then other times like totally cool.
Yeah, it's weird. She does bring up a lot of good points, though I think some of the framing of her points is a bit inconsistent. Parts of it I don't agree with the framing and the implications, but it's also sometimes it feels slightly contradictory.
Yeah, sometimes she does this thing where her presentation is very sarcastic and sometimes a little over the top.
That's the next thing I was going to say. Well, also there was a few points that I was not certain if it was supposed to be sarcastic or not. And
Yeah.
I think that's one of the biggest issues I have with it. It's like, okay, that was sarcastic. That was sarcastic. But I don't know if that was sarcastic or not. And if it wasn't, I have issues with it, but I don't know if it is. So I think that is one of my issues with the. Yeah.
Yeah. The other thing about it was that she did the thing which I think undermined the whole video, because now the thing is people are going to latch onto it as a way to discredit the whole thing, everything she says, regardless of what, which is the number she pulled out of her butt with the pie charts.
Oh, yeah, that was
just like
not
she
a
just
good thing on her.
that was
Yeah.
not a that was yeah, because of that people are going to latch on that. Well, you don't know, that's you're just, you know, so because of that she just made up numbers off the top of her head. It's gonna, people are going to use it to discredit the whole thing and not listen, very much just dismiss it all, which is unfortunate.
Yeah,
again,
that was
because
not a good section for it.
Yeah.
It really wasn't.
And one big thing about the controversy about it is simply her declaring basically the fandom's dead, and
Yep.
that gets people upset because it's the way she's declaring its death is kind of very specific, and I think that's part of it. I think she's seeing it because the fandom, she sees it as the fandom is largely being absorbed into the furry fandom, thus the brony fandom is dead and now just a subset of the furry fandom is how she views it. So
yeah,
there's that. And then the other thing which people raise tackles with is she basically, I got out of the fandom like years ago, and now she's being very definitive about her statements with the state of the fandom after she left it.
yeah, it's like, how
that's
can
the
you
other
say
thing.
these things so definitively when you haven't been part of it in so long? There's a whole bunch of little things like that. There's just like, I'm not quite certain you got it quite right. I think most of the points that she brings up are right.
Yeah.
So, but there's a few things, and she really puts a large weight on certain topics too.
Mm-hmm.
She puts a lot of weight on, well, the sexualization of things.
Oh, yeah.
She talks about that a lot, and I'm not entirely certain I agree with her points there.
Then you're just obviously in the extreme minority now.
Yeah. So that's another one of my things that it puts a bad taste in my mouth, because I don't agree with that. I mean, there are problems, and she's not entirely wrong when she talks about those things, but I don't know. I guess one of the other issues is just her, like you said, the definitively, I can't speak that word.
Definitive nature of how she spoke about
Yeah,
it.
the definitiveness of her statements.
Yeah.
Puts me a little off. It's like, yeah, you can't really be that definitive of it, because there's no way anyone has that kind of information and that sort of evidence to actually make those statements.
Yeah.
No one has that.
'Cause I remember she said she more or less bailed out when the show started was being overtly made for bronies, and I was like, I'm not really sure that was the case per se.
That was another. She brought
I think
that
she
up
saw a couple jokes
times
and decided the whole show's now ruined. I don't know. That's what it felt
and
like.
She made that point multiple times. Oh, it catered to bronies now, so the entire thing is bad. And then, but she also, in like two breaths, said, it's doing this now in the later episodes, so therefore it's bad, but I also haven't watched them.
Yeah.
So it's like, you just contradicted yourself there.
I think it feels like she's got a couple things out of context. It didn't bother to go any further, and that's because that was enough for her to say, I don't want to see it.
Also, sort of the implication that if you make any sort of reference to the fandom, you're automatically therefore bad.
Yeah, it's a weird thing. It's that weird push and pull between fandom and creator. That there's that weird thing of people have weird, not weird, but different definitions of where the line should be.
Mm-hmm.
So for her, apparently, she's like very much in the fandom should have very little influence on the product.
Yeah,
if any at all.
And sure, if that's how you want things to be, that's perfectly valid. But she's basically giving the implication that it's not just the way she would like to see things; it's the way it should be for everyone. Seemed to be the implication, which is like.
But there's also the self-deprecating bit where she's like, "Yeah, my whole legacy is I may have a song that has a bunch of slurs in it."
Yep.
That's my legacy.
Yeah.
It's like,
That's
oh,
her
yeah.
legacy, because, yeah.
Yeah, I guess that's because, yeah, she said the thing a lot of us don't realize is that word is, that they'd use for pinky in the Friendship's Witchcraft is a slur, and a lot of us don't really know about that because it's an old one and it's largely European centric. So Americans tend to not realize the implication of that word. So that word's everywhere. You're still seeing it pop up constantly because people just don't know any better because it becomes so
Tipsy
pervasive.
with a G, yes.
Yeah, a word for the Romani.
Yes, it's yeah, and here in the Americas, I don't think it's ever been used with its derogatory
It just
context.
kind of, well, not any time in the last few hundred
definitely
years,
not
at
in
least.
modern times. But that is where it started.
It's the word.
It's
the word. That's because, you get Hunchback of Notre Dame, and there it is, and that's sort of the thing. And that's why it came up, is because they just wanted to reference Hunchback of Notre Dame a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, there's that. And she did drop some information I think would surprise a lot of people, which is John Delancey doesn't really like you.
Yeah.
And apparently I've heard from Star Trek people now.
But she also says that was, since 2013.
Yeah. But I heard from a lot of Star Trek people, yeah, he's not really a nice person.
Yeah.
A lot of Star Trek people, yeah, that's a known thing. If you asked any of us, we would have told you, yeah, he's not a pleasant person at conventions. He's just kind of there to get the paycheck and go.
Yeah.
So it's like, oof.
I've heard that about a few actors, that some people were like, oh, they're probably a really nice person. I've heard that about Morgan Freeman.
Oh, yeah.
Who apparently he's just a complete jerk, is what I've heard out in person.
Here's one. Ellen DeGeneres apparently is pretty awful. Yeah, apparently she's pretty awful as a person.
Yeah.
But she always presents this super nice image so everyone doesn't realize it. But anyway, apparently Tara Strong's actually genuinely a nice person there. So I was like, there, hooray.
Yeah, although, she's not perfect.
No, she's not perfect, but
she's definitely not perfect.
She's got some things she probably shouldn't be doing, but whatever. That's not the time for place.
Yeah, there are some other things that she comes back to the point of body pillows a lot.
Well, I do remember BronyCon had a lot of body pillows.
Right. Yes, that was a valid thing about the last BronyCon. It does seem like they just kind of
didn't care,
ignored their rules, and just didn't care, which I do think is a problem.
Yeah, and that was the other thing, which is the very pedantic nature of a lot of bronies when it comes to those body pillows. Oh, see, yes. It's not sexual. See, because there's no genitalia. It's fine.
Yeah. Like, I'm split on what's going on here with the whole talk about body pillows, because I don't think that... Because again, she was putting this huge emphasis on basically the majority of bronies sexualize ponies, is basically what she was implying. Whether that was sarcastic or not, I don't know. That was one of the problems. I just didn't know. Because it doesn't make that obvious. But I don't think it is as big as she was making it, but there is a thing to it. There is, enough to take notice, and that we need to take notice of. But one of the other points that she did bring up that is a problem is the sexualization of minor characters.
Mm.
Like the body pillows in obvious, suggestive, sultry poses. It's like,
they're
don't
like
even
10.
try. To just, no.
They're like 10 years old. What are you doing?
I do think there needs to be a bit more of a restraint and restriction on that.
Good luck now.
Yeah, good luck now.
We were already fighting a somewhat smaller Nazi problem, and that was like pulling teeth. Imagine trying to fight that one.
Yeah. It's like suggestive and or even explicit merchandise. I'm not going to say that no one should have suggestive or explicit merchandise. I'm not going to. It's not something I ever want to see, but it's not my place to say that no one else should. Now, if it's of minor characters, then I will say you should not have that. That's a problem.
Yep.
But selling it at a convention, I really do think more conventions do need to take a bit more of a hard line on knowing who's at your convention and what is...
Oh, small child. What? You want me to explain what this is?
Exactly. Now, unfortunately, there is no hard line there either. Because every convention is different.
Mm-hmm.
If your convention is specifically catering to more of the adults, understand that kids may still be there, but, that your rules may change.
Yep.
But say a convention like Everfree that caters to children a lot, I do like that they have been very hardline about what is sold. Sometimes things do slip through the cracks, but they do draw a lot harder of a line. So I think where that line is might be different for the convention, but there needs to be a line, and some things should never be sold during daytime hours.
Yeah.
Whether they have a watershed or not is up to the convention, but that stuff really needs to be decided well beforehand and made quite obvious that it is in existence, because it can cause problems.
I always saw a lot of the common arguments, in particular in Turbo about the whole, when people are like, well, let's kind of get rid of the Nazi stuff. One of the common things was, well, there's so much more Full-Con. Shouldn't we do something about that? Yes, we should. After we deal with this problem. We should. Because I suspect a lot of those people who are saying, well, we should think about the Full-Con. Maybe those people, I suspect a lot of them, well, if we start actually going after it, well, also, no, you can't do that.
Would try to defend that too. Yeah, it was like, oh, but they're not real characters.
Yep. That's always the defense.
I don't think that's a good enough defense. Sorry.
And then there was also she made a couple snipes at like a couple things here and there, but then also walked it back a couple times. The horse famous section in general.
Yeah, the whole horse fame thing, again, it was the whole, are you being sarcastic about this or not?
Well, because sometimes you kind of mock it, and then kind of, well, at the same time, I get why. That was what she thinks. Like, I should mock it, because, like, look at them, they're, like, going around indoors, sunglasses on, not complaining about acting all like rock stars, and then it's like, I get why, though. It feels good.
Yeah, it does. It's hard, really, to nail down my thoughts on the video, because there's so much I don't know how I'm supposed to feel or how I'm supposed to interpret some of these things.
Yeah.
Which I guess is kind of a problem.
Yeah.
Which is a problem I've seen a lot of people say. It's like, I don't know if this is sarcastic or not. And if you can't tell, if your viewers cannot tell, that's a problem.
A bit, yeah. There's also those little things. Just heard pretty much. Yeah, the declaration of the Phantom's dead, and
that's I would disagree.
Yeah,
but I think this is also going to be a point of definitions.
Yeah, and
going to be arguing semantics.
She's also arguing that pretty much conventions are going to die off left and right pretty quick, because particularly in COVID just accelerated the inevitable.
That didn't help. No, that really made things worse.
Yeah, I mean, her prediction is basically, we'll get to 2021. We're going to see a very few conventions, and we're going to see how that pans out. Because I remember, what was it? I saw it was Brony Scott is basically dead. Yeah, I think Brony Scott just killed their convention recently.
Maybe.
Yeah, I think they said so. They were like, we're done. We're not going to do it anymore. We're done. We're not going to bother from here on out.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. Like, I think we've always been saying that we're going to see them start to dwindle.
Oh yeah, we've been saying that.
I don't want to see them all go away. Oh, well, we've been saying it was supposed to dwindle since the explosion of years ago, which even Jenny Nicholson brought up, how they just, after the first BronyCon, there was just a ton of them. And we're like, yeah, 40 cons in 1 year is not sustainable. We don't have 40 cons a year anymore.
Nope.
A lot of them did die off.
This year we had like 2.
Well, this year's a write-off on that.
No, it doesn't count.
Because
extenuating circumstances.
Things happened. So yeah, I would like to see fewer cons, but have them high quality, and have them sustained.
Yeah.
And there's a whole argument, is it dying? Well,
maybe.
Depends on your definition of dying. Is it past its prime? Well, that depends on what you mean by its prime. Is it past? Will we ever reach those numbers? No. So is that your definition? Then yes, we are past our prime. But
I've noticed a noticeable slowdown in a lot of stuff. It used to take me like multiple hours to go through like fanfics for a week. If I took a week and didn't read anything and just sat down and read them, it took me like 2 hours or an hour just to get through like all set. I had like 60 tabs open. Now it's like I maybe have like 10 tabs open.
Yeah.
And it didn't take me very long.
In some ways, yes, but again, I think it's also going to come back to semantics and definitions.
Mm.
Are we on our deathbed, or are we just reducing to a more sustainable size? And that's not an answer that I think we have. But the whole, it's dead. It's now dead. BronyCon is over, it's dead. I don't think is a good statement.
Eventually, yeah, I think that video overall is very much kind of all over the place in regards to just the general content, just because she makes some pretty wild claims that don't have any real basis in anything, and then she also makes some really good claims which are very much based in fact. So it's like,
yes,
so it's like, I
that's
don't
why
know.
it's really hard to pin down.
Yeah, so it just really just feels like kind of just someone talking for an hour and got a little out of hand.
Yeah, it's one thing to have, your opinions and your viewpoint, and this is how I'm seeing it. Sure, that's perfectly valid. But then to state that this is the, universal truth and reality to it, might be a little bit too much, because again, you don't exactly have a lot to back up some of those claims you're making. It's a thing. Watch it. Get your own opinion of it. Might be different than ours. Moving on, we do have other news to talk about. The third Equinity album, Breach, will be releasing August 3rd, so that should be hopefully yesterday as of hearing this.
Yep.
Merchandise news. Light Bright and Twister crossover G1 style ponies have appeared. So yes,
more
Hasbro
crossovers.
crossover with their toy lines. I think they do have names, so we have, like, the Twister one is Right Hoof Red. Stuff like that, which is kind of cute. And looks like the Dungeons & Dragons crossover G1 style collection is also up for pre-order, so more Dungeons & Dragons crossover stuff.
Hasbro Pulse,
Neat.
Big Bad Toy Store, Entertainment Earth. Yeah,
It looks like $60 for the set.
It's 5 ponies, so that's about right.
Yep, sounds about right. And that'll be coming out in September.
Mm-hmm.
Toys R Us Canada is selling the Morphin Pink Pony and the My Little Prime crossover figures, the Unicorn Party Celebration collections, and the Pony Pet Friends set.
Yeah, these are all actually in stock.
Yes, they are not just listing online, which they are listed online, but they're showing up in stock in-store as well. Target has a second Basic Fun Unicorn and Pegasus G1 Pony set.
Yep, G1 Pony still thing.
In comic news, EKD has some previews. They have previews for the first issue of the My Little Pony Transformers crossover comic, the Friendship in Disguise series.
Mm-hmm.
A few pages preview of that one. And they also have a preview for Friendship is Magic issue number 89, which is first issue of the so-called Season 10 series.
I believe they're both should be coming out within the next day or so of this releasing.
Yep, I do believe. Let me quickly check.
My MLP Transformers comics is set to come out and coming here Tuesday.
Yes, mine. I have a tracking number, and it's supposed to be here Thursday.
I don't know. Who knows? Because USPS is in trouble. Support them if you can.
Support them. Buy their crop tops. Yes, USPS sells a U.S. Postal Service themed crop top.
Yep.
And in our last bit of news, Pony Life news, more Moments clips have been uploaded to YouTube. So just like the best of clips and things like that. Those are up in case you want spoilers.
Yeah, for Pony Life.
And more episode titles have been revealed because Dol-FIN-ale is not the end, as we now know. We've known for a little while now. So yes, the upcoming titles are as follows. Potion Mystery, Sick Day, Meet Potion Nova, Pony Surfing Safari, Bottle Episode, that'll be fun. The Key Ingredient, iCookie, Keynote Pie, Ponies of the Monument, One Click Wonder, Zound Off, and Unboxing Day.
Yep.
Could be interesting. We'll have to see. And that is the end of the news.
Yep.
So
we got.
I spent a long time on one of those, but it was a rather large piece of thing that happened. So I guess moving on to our primary discussion, the last few Pony Life episodes that have come out. Those were Fast and the Furriest, Disappearing Act, Badge of Shame, Discord's Peak, A Camping We Will Go, Campfire Stories, Friendship Gems, and Dol-FIN-ale.
Yep.
And let's see if I can remember what actually happened in every single one of those. Yes, Fast and the Furriest.
Yes. That was the one where
Right,
Twilight and
the
Dash.
Twilight and Rainbow Dash have a race.
Well, they have their pets race.
They have their pets race.
Because they're being super competitive and they ruin everything by doing so.
Yep. That's actually basically it. They force their pets to race. Something happens, and they go, "Oh, that was bad of us," and then they, are friends again.
Yep. Disappearing
That was
Act is Rarity, and her magic show,
Ah, yes.
and her
The
getting
magic
too
show.
self-absorbed.
And yep, and she gets self-absorbed and makes all of her friends disappear into the void.
Mood.
And then she goes into the void to rescue them.
Wish I could disappear into the void for a while.
God. Wouldn't that be nice? So yeah, I guess that's also a thing. They were okay, those two.
Yeah.
They were just kind of, alright.
They exist.
They exist.
They weren't terrible or anything. Although the Fast and Furious, I remember there's one thing about that kind of it bothered me because their whole thing was like everyone else is angry because they had their pets race super hard. It's like the pets, honestly, they didn't really do anything that wrong. It was a race and they went by them and oh no, the other pets crashed. It's like I don't really see the problem, honestly. Regardless, it's just
Yeah, I think it's
felt
supposed to be just like,
how dare you
put
go
the
fast
race
in a race?
Well, it was also they crashed, which means someone was hurt.
I know, but it's like
you cared more about winning than hurting your pet friends.
it's a weird thing.
Yeah.
It just felt weird, just kind of like demonizing going fast in a race.
You're being unsafe. Races are unsafe. I guess if you really wanted to say something that was wrong, is you forced someone to go in a race. Did they actually want to be part of that, or did you force them to do it against their will?
Could have done a little better. Could have done a little better.
Yeah.
Like, see, you made your pets are sad now because you forced them to do something they didn't want. That would have been better than you made your pets went fast and now the whole thing's ruined. I feel that would have been better. And caught in the same point across. Although it was nice. Oh, hey, look, they went back and helped.
Yeah.
Aw.
Yeah. Look at the sportsmanship.
Well, yeah, so that's the new thing. It's like this Twilight is actually kind of competitive.
Yep.
Interesting.
Yes. So then other two were Badge of Shame and Discord's Peak, which comes us back to the Trail Trotters arc. So yes, Badge of Shame, they're going to build something.
Yeah, it's essentially the first Twilight-centric episode, honestly.
Yeah, it was. Master of Instructions.
Yeah, that's something in Twilight. That's instructions are incomprehensible, and Twilight just gives up and builds a new oven for Pinky, whose oven broke, and she's very sad about that.
Because she's very sad. If my oven broke, I wouldn't be very happy.
Well, yeah.
Although I hate that oven. God, I hate my oven.
But it's better than not having an oven.
It's better than not having an oven. Though I make use of the microwave and the toaster oven much more.
Yeah.
So yeah, basically that was it. And it was all right.
Discord one was,
Discord's peak. It was Discord. We finally got Discord. That was a big thing. Discord was finally introduced. It's voiced by Peter New. Yes, they didn't get Delancey back.
Decent impression.
I think he did a decent impression.
Yeah, it was.
It's one of those. It's like, do you even try?
I don't know. He did a pretty good job, all things considered. He sounded kind of like John Delancey. Not always, but kind of like him sometimes.
He sounded like Peter New impersonating John Delancey.
Close enough.
It's like, you could tell it's not John Delancey. You can tell it's supposed to sound like John Delancey, but you can also tell it sounds like Peter New. So it's like, yeah,
that's
okay.
Yeah, that was just, what was it? Discord was all weird and again.
I
want to join. I would want to join. He's like a cat.
Which You know,
Fair enough.
fair enough. If you're supposed to be the embodiment of chaos, acting like a cat
That's about right.
is not too far off. Yeah, so they go hiking up a volcano, and yeah, I guess Fluttershy
Wants chaos, so Discord will show up.
makes chaos so Discord shows up. Because, they're really leaning on the Disco Shy in this,
Yeah.
aren't they?
Yeah, they are.
They're really leaning on this one. Fluttershy is very different in this series.
Oh, yeah.
I think out of all
The
of
good
the
old
characters,
hidden aggression thing.
Fluttershy's. Yeah. So I think these two are probably better than the last two.
Yeah. It's nice seeing Twilight finally get a spotlight.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just kind of like, hey, it's a good old, hey, these instructions are incomprehensible nonsense.
So it's IKEA.
Yeah. Well,
Although
I've never had a
as
hard
many
time
issues.
following IKEA instructions.
It's one of those, everyone, that's the meme, is that IKEA instructions are completely incomprehensible. I've never actually had that issue.
No, they seem pretty straightforward to me.
They do seem pretty straightforward, but, it is the joke.
Yeah. Yeah, it's fine, but yeah, she built a oven with, like, exhaust pipes or something going out of it. I'm like,
most oven exhausts are separate and set above it, but okay.
I'm just sitting there like, what is this? Was this supposed to be in the first place?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't even think they knew. But yeah, they did it to get a badge for their trail trotters. So is Discord's the peak. That episode is supposed to also get a badge. Fake badge. So yes, and then we have a camping we will go.
It's
in which
camping. Shock.
They go camping, and Rarity wants to go glamping, which is basically like, what was that one? Sleepless in Ponyville, was it?
Kind of, yeah.
It was those three, and she brings that massive tent and all of her stuff, except, she forgets a lot of it this time.
Yep.
So they help her, and she goes okay, and everything was happy.
Yep, she learns to enjoy camping somewhat.
She makes the fire. So yes, and then the next one is Campfire Stories, which has nothing to do with camping.
It's just stories.
It's just stories. Pinky causes a power outage through very unsafe electrical systems in that building. That is not up to code. You are not supposed to do that.
All tell their own version of the same story, essentially.
Yep, which is basically Pony Point of View, except
again,
not quite as good and shorter.
Yep.
So yeah, they all tell their stories in different ways, except for Rarity, who tells a completely different story.
Yeah.
And never gets to finish because they shut her down.
Yep.
And then the power comes back on.
And they unplug everything real fast.
Yep.
Again, very all right.
Yep. They're both a thing. I think Campfire Stories is probably funner than a Camping We Will Go. Camping We Will Go is just kind of really threadbare.
Mm-hmm.
It was a thing. This one at least had a little bit more stuff to it.
Mm-hmm.
We have the last two, Friendship Gems and Dol-FIN-ale.
Yep. Friendship Gems with the Trixie one.
Yes.
They teach Trixie about friendship because he just doesn't know how to do it. That's it.
Yep. That's it. The biggest thing is Trixie's introduced.
Yep.
It's actually it's a thing. It's not the best, but it's not horrible either.
If you're a Trixie fan, you're probably in love with it.
Oh, if you're a Trixie fan, it's great.
You weirdo.
You weirdo.
Yes, I'm calling all of you out. You know who you are.
You know who you are. There's a lot of Trixie. I'm not going to disparage a Trixie fan at this point. There's certain episodes definitely did Trixie right. And I wish we got more of those because I can definitely see why she can be a lot of fun. Not my favorite, but I definitely can see why people like her. I'm not there yet, but if we had more of those, I possibly could have been. Yeah, so the other thing is, they got a letter from the official Trail Trotters thing, and they once again have to hide it.
Yep.
The whole contest to meet Fantastic, and they lie to Fluttershy saying they won.
Yep.
Great job.
And they meet him, and he turns out to be a pretty cool dude.
Yeah, okay, that's the next one. Dol-FIN-ale.
Yep.
I guess it's the finale of the Trail Trotters arc.
Yep.
Which everything kind of comes to head. The main 6 minus Fluttershy actually go to Dol-FIN-ale and go, hey, so here's the deal.
Yep. We lied to our friend to protect her.
Our friend.
Could you go play along with it?
Can you help us out?
Sure. And then he just tells her the truth.
And just straight up, yeah, they've been lying to you. And she's like, how could they do this? And then quickly, they were trying to, save my feelings. And I guess it's all right. Which it really isn't, but okay.
One of those weird things. It's like, you did the wrong thing for the right reasons.
Yeah. Also, the real winners of the contest show up.
No,
Plus, to introduce them, and it's a CMC.
And now they get to be the leaders of the CMC troop, because, okay, sure.
Sure, okay, whatever. Nothing else makes sense, might as well.
Nothing really matters anyway.
In the end. This once again, it's just there's a line between the series overall being good and the series overall being not good, and it still doesn't know on which side of this line it wants to be. I think overall it sits above the line because we get good episodes, we get bad episodes, but overall we get meh episodes that don't change it.
Yeah, I'm feeling like largely this series, and I'm starting now getting a better picture. This series is largely just very okay, mediocre, whatever. All these just it exists type stuff for the most part, except it occasionally has these really good moments here and there, but they're surrounded by mediocrity.
Yeah, it has gems, but it's hard to like. I say don't take this seriously, but that's obvious. You're not meant to. Yeah. Just look at how it's written and how the whole thing plays out. You're obviously not supposed to. You're not supposed to. And I really want to put emphasis on that.
However, it's like large chunks of these jokes aren't really landing. The stories are very almost non-existent sometimes. But you get these moments like the bit with like Fluttershy walking off in anger in the Dol-FIN-ale. It's like 3 months later. It's been literally minutes.
Yeah, and she, does that whole scene where, they were doing it for the wrong thing for the right reasons, and they're really monologue. My friends, and big monologue, end scene, got the cut, got it, with the director. It's like, oh,
that was a good moment.
Stuff like that, those were great. And
but
I don't
just
know,
surrounded by...
Maybe the jokes we're missing because we're not the intended age group. That's another thing that I always is running in the back of my head. We're not the intended audience.
However, I would also argue
the intended audience that is funny for.
A lot of the best children's stuff is the stuff that the humor is very universal. Not all of it, but a lot of it is. You don't really rely on just, it's funny because farts or whatever. Although sometimes that can be funny. Sometimes that can be funny, yes, but...
Sometimes, yes, but...
What was it? Yeah, Walt Disney. If you aim for kids, you're dead. You have to... And that's the thing, is like smart writing can elevate a show. And it's like, yeah, it's for children, obviously, but... I don't know, it's just very... there, and it's just... It feels very much like this is the sort of thing I would have watched as a kid while waiting for something else to come on. Like, I'll watch it, but I'm not going to actively seek it out.
Yeah. I'll watch it if it's on, but it's one of those.
Yeah.
For me, it's one of those. I'll put it on. I'd put it on if not like I'll only watch it if it happens to be on, but like I'll watch it if I don't have anything else that has priority, or if I'm just looking for something to do. Like, I'll see if that's on. I'll watch that. I'll go look at it.
Yeah.
But it's also one of those, if I find out, I missed an episode, whatever. I'm not like
it's
disappointed that I missed something.
That's the thing. It's there.
Yeah.
And I think it's almost like at this point, I'm almost like, I almost wish it was bad, just because at least I'd have something to talk about.
Yeah,
At the very
because
least,
we're
there's
supposed to
something there to
talk
talk
about
about.
it, and it's tough because it's so threadbare. There's so little for us to really latch onto, and
Yeah.
I know we don't analyze. We're not analysts.
But yeah, it's like I just wish there's more just jokes that hit. I feel a lot of the jokes just miss. This hit to miss ratio is very not great. It's batting like
Yeah,
100 or something.
yeah.
And it's
And again, I'm just constantly worried about am I out of touch?
no, it's the children who are wrong.
It is the children who are wrong. It's like, is it just because I'm getting old?
Well, I don't
I
know,
don't
because again, a
know.
lot of
And I
these
don't,
writers, because again, I feel like there's almost, it's like it almost hits it sometimes. It almost starts to get there and then just never quite makes it a lot. So that's what I
yeah.
feel like. It's like I don't think it really is just along the lines of just we're out of touch. They almost feel at that point of they're just throwing stuff at the wall and seeing what sticks for now, and then they'll sort it out later.
Yeah. I don't know. I kind of want to hear the opinions of those in the target age group.
No,
Zoomers,
no, man,
tell
no, you
me
don't
what it's.
understand. I'm just trying to ask your kid about Pony Life. No, don't worry. No, crap.
No, officer, I swear, I'm just at this playground to watch the kid. No, it's not like that. But yeah, Zoomers, tell me if I'm just out of touch.
Please.
Is this actually more funny? Am I just too old?
Am I just old? Am
Am
I
I
the wrong here?
Because it's like, yeah, sometimes that's what it feels like, but I don't know, and I'm always worried about it. How are you doing, fellow kids? How's it going?
I don't know. I like the art style still. Again, some of the jokes really work really well, but it's just, I think part of the problem is just simply it's too short.
Yeah, they have to, like, I don't know, it's like hard to talk about. Everything's hard to talk about. Too short, but it's also hyper paced, so you can't just take what there is and lengthen it out. But if you were to just add more, like if you were to make, instead of like, one episode is, 2 episodes actually. Each one of these is 2 parts and they're usually separate. If you were to like just stretch one out to the length of 2,
That's what they're doing.
that would feel really disjointed. I don't know. Some of these there isn't enough. You have to add more, but then could you actually keep that up at the same pace?
Yeah. It's a weird thing.
Yeah,
it feels like a lot of these stories are simply a result of being short.
Yeah.
Versus it has
we
to be
only
short
have
versus
11 minutes, so write something in 11 for an 11 minutes.
A lot of these it's actually you have 5 minutes.
5 minutes, yeah.
Which you can tell a story in that time frame. It's just you got to really nail the pacing and structure of it, and if you don't, it's just gonna feel like just it happened, I guess.
Yeah, it you can only tell certain stories, and you have to tell them in certain ways, or else it's gonna just feel like, okay, now what?
That existed, all right.
That was an episode.
That was technically an episode, I guess.
Yeah. I do kind of like, having an overarching arc that they can do little bits in, like the whole Trail Trotters thing. I'm not certain the Trail Trotters one really landed as well as it could have, but, stuff like that actually can work.
Yeah.
Build a story arc that you can do slice of lives that build upon it up into a final point. You started to do it here. You had little bits of it in Friendship is Magic too, although that's different writers, different styles, so I don't really think you can compare them. That's apples to oranges there. But more stuff like that could work fairly well. Write short 5-minute stories that tie into a longer story. There's how you get more longer content.
Yeah. I've seen that sort of thing. Serializing it a lot. Although I saw someone that was funny, a funny thing I saw, which is isn't it wild that Pony Life has a tighter continuity than Friendship is Magic?
Oh my god.
Because it kind of does.
Kind of.
Like we're actually getting like consistent like callbacks and whatnot and setups for a longer stuff throughout, and they are being consistent internally, and so that's kind of wild in of itself.
that could change. We're still in the very beginnings of things.
Yep.
Things could depending on how much, I guess world building or lore, although it's not certain you can call it that at this point, that you have with something like this, since it does seem fairly compact and tight, you could run into the walls of your continuity real quick at this pace.
No.
If you're not careful.
Anyway, they're pretty much allowed to do whatever the heck they want because it's a totally different continuity than Friendship is Magic, and thus,
Right, but as they're going, they're building more continuity, and depending on if they're not careful, they could wall themselves.
I'm noticing the thing is they're playing it pretty light, though.
Yeah, so far they're doing.
I think that's their goal. They're not going to get super deep lore stuff like we had in Friendship is Magic, and that's part of the. Well, some of the super deep lore stuff is because we had different writers writing it, and then some later writers ignoring that and doing their own thing.
Yeah, which definitely changes the story and the show.
Mm-hmm.
Having that level. This is actually something that Jenny Nicholson talked about in the video. Having the world building and lore available for fans to build off of. There's not enough yet here.
It's not there. This is a show I don't think is ever going to have that.
So yeah, that's one of those I don't think this is going to be one that the fandom really latches on because there's none of that.
This is slice of life distilled down to its basic elements, for better or for worse. So that's what it is. I was like, if you're here for lore and stuff, you're not going to get it.
You're not going to get it. Which sucks for me because I love lore and world.
I don't mind if the characters are well written. The thing is, here right now, we're still at that weird.
We don't know.
I'm not sure. Sometimes the characters feel just not well written. Other times they feel really well written. Again, like the Rarity one, Bad Thing number 3 was just.
Oh, that was perfect.
Yeah, even Applejack, the new version of Applejack we saw with how Applejack got her hat back. Perfect.
I like how they've been writing Applejack.
Yeah. They made her a lot better.
I like it.
I already liked Applejack before.
Making Applejack break the fourth wall is ingenious. And the way she does it is perfect. It's subtle. And it just works.
And so far, all the other characters have been kind of somewhat like their Friendship is Magic counter, but also different in little ways. In some ways, I'm not sure. It's like Twilight so far has been, again, and sometimes like Twilight for a large chunk of the show so far has been like not really much of a presence. Fluttershy's had a couple episodes, and yet we got pretty much established who she is, and now we're can we move on to someone else? No, we're still focusing on Fluttershy right now.
maybe that'll change because we did have the Trail Trotters arc, which was centered around Fluttershy. So
maybe that'll be done.
Maybe now that we've finished with that one, maybe we'll start focusing on another one. Maybe we'll have arcs that focus around a character, where it's like this arc is about this character, so we'll show how this character interacts with our main arc character and switch off like that. Maybe, I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah,
we'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's as much as we can ramble on about.
Yeah, it's
these episodes.
Sometimes tough to stretch this out.
It is. So. Yeah, well, we'll have more episodes next week, so we can reiterate what we said this week with new. Yeah, 2 weeks. In the next 2 weeks, we'll reiterate what we just said with slightly different viewpoints. Maybe not. Hopefully, we'll have more. But we do have some fan content.
Yep.
I have a couple songs that I want to feature for this week. So, starting off, we have CadetRedShirt and JoinedTheHerd in a heartfelt melody.
Then again, life never is. 'Cause I knew if I told you I love you, nothing would ever be the same. Everything we had would change. And I knew if I had just one chance to hope, there's a world I'd wanna know where you could say you love me too.
I really like this song. CadetRedShirt's vocals are just incredible. The lyric writing and the vocals that she did, both of them on, are absolutely great. JoinedTheHerd did all the backing instrumentals. It's a perfect match. It's a song about the Apple parents. And they're dead. But it's a love song. And it's really good. It really is. Join the Herd's instrumentals on the backing. You can definitely tell Join the Herd's standard, electronic stuff there, but it's definitely not the standard fare, but it still is really well done. A lot of piano and guitar work in there. It's really good, and it fits the vocals really well.
Yeah, it was it's kind of a nice and soft song in a way.
It is.
And also it has a bit of a bounce to it once it starts to get going. But yeah, it's a pretty nice one. Very
And a
easy to
little
listen
subtle reference to the official song in there too.
Hmm.
When you go through the lyrics.
Hmm.
They reuse one of the lines. It's great.
Plagiarism.
No, it's a reference. And the second song I want to feature is Lavender Harmony's remix of Living in Color. This song is just so happy and bouncy and fun. The original song was great. It sucks that there's not as much from the special
Oh yeah.
as there could have been. They could have been the special could have been better. It was still pretty good. I just wish there was more content. But this remix is just incredible. Lavender is an amazing musician. They've been in the fandom for a while. They kind of disappeared for a bit and came back, and I'm so happy they did, because they're really good. The sound design, the melody, the vocal, little bits of vocal chopping and use of the vocals in there, and the effects they put on, everything in it is really well done, and it's just such a fun, happy song to listen to.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. Yeah, it's fast paced. It's kind of boopy.
Beep boop.
Yeah, I will also say though the outro's a bit long. I feel kind of.
Yeah.
I feel like it could have cut off a good 30 seconds and been fine.
I think my only complaint is sometimes like the outro may be a little bit long, and sometimes the chorus I guess might be a little bit longer than it needs to in places, like the constant repeat of Living in Color. It's a little bit long in the tooth, but not quite so much that I'm going, okay, come on. It just a little bit long, and then it goes on. But overall, I absolutely love this song.
It's pretty good.
So that's the music.
Yep.
Fanfics?
Nothing. Because I don't know, just nothing's catching my eye really. It's just like yeah. It's kind of it's a lot of that was all right. Not very worth featuring really. A lot of that.
Do we have people been making Pony Life fanfics yet?
Here and there, yeah, but not a whole lot of them.
Not a whole lot. Not a whole lot to work with.
Yeah. There's only been a handful I've seen, and most of those are just kind of weird, either riffs on Pony Life or just goofy things, kind of using Pony Life to talk about something else.
Yeah.
So it's
fair enough. Fair enough. So yeah, I guess that's it then. The end of fan content and this episode. If you liked what you heard, you can find all of our other episodes, past, future, present, at pony411.libsyn.com. Remember that's spelled Libsyn. So go there, find them all, along with RSS feeds. And there's also a row of buttons on the top of the page that link to all the other places that I'm about to talk, where you can also find our episodes. Those include places like iTunes, Google Play, and Google Podcasts, because Google Play is being deprecated as everything moves away. Stitcher, YouTube, which, yeah, whole bunch of there. YouTube is youtube.com/pony411. Everywhere else, just go there, the main site, and search for Pony411. You will find us. Same with Ponyville Live, while that site still is in operation, I guess. Who knows? It could die at any point. We are there amongst whatever else is listed.
Yep.
But we also air on Ponyville FM every Tuesday, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. So tune in to listen to us.
I think
this week,
I believe they're doing maintenance, so it might be down during that time.
Yeah, there is some stuff going on, some back-end work being done. But we're on the schedule for every week, so we have reruns.
Yep.
Since we don't have new episodes every week, we'll have reruns. So if you miss it, you can listen in next week, possibly, unless we get a new episode that week. Or just tune in whenever, because it is a good place to listen to fandom music and live DJ. So check them out anyway. If you would like to get a hold of us, you can contact us by email at pony411podcast@gmail.com. So in those comments, criticisms, tell us what you think about Pony Life so far. Tell us what you think about this episode in particular. If you have some fandom stuff you want us to talk about, send it our way. We will take a look. No guarantees we'll talk about it here, but we will look at it. We can also be found on Facebook, facebook.com/pony411. Go like our page there. Message us, I guess. We'll respond there. That's about all we do. It's Facebook. We don't really like Facebook, but we have to have it. We are also on Twitter, and that's at pony411. Go follow us there. Tweet us there. Watch us tweet random nonsense or whatnot. Great place to say hi, and also a great place to cry at the state of the world, because it is a hell site, but everyone has to use it. You can also follow our personal Twitter accounts. I am at Alca7raz with a 7 instead of a T and an underscore at the end, and they are at Nemesis Prime 1. Yep. So go follow us, see what we tweet or retweet. I don't tweet all that often, and every now and then I'll retweet usually pictures of Rainbow Dash. Because she's the best.
Yeah.
You tweet about plastic toys.
Yes.
Transforming plastic toys.
Yes.
You do your reviews and such like that.
Yep. I got a bunch of new
We'll
ones.
also retweet our other podcast. If you like anime, we do have New to Weeaboo. So if you want to hear us talk about anime stuff, follow us there.
We just did Love Live Sunshine.
We did, and I still have Believe Again stuck in my head. Such a good song. Such a good song. So yes, that is the end of the episode. Hope you liked what you heard. Hope you tune in the next 2 weeks when we will talk about the next episodes of Pony Life that come out and whatever news happens to happen. So yes, until then though, please, as always, pony responsibly. See ya.
Bye.